Business Tiki update. This has been difficult to rebuild our Tiki. I'll give you a little bit of a summary here. I think we did that in either the March or April meeting, but I'll summarize it. We had a meeting with phone call meeting with Florida Department of Environmental Protection in June. And we were told that they would not approve the tiki hut in its prior location, primarily because the vegetation is all gone and it's all sand. And they said that at that point they would not approve it. Our questions to them about, well, when or what type of vegetation do we need to plant, they really didn't give us much of an answer. Um, and just to we're working with a group that's affiliated with the Seminole Indians, and by Florida law, they do not need a building permit to build tiki huts. But if you're doing anything seaward of the coastal construction control line, you need approval from the Florida DEP, Department of Environmental Protection. Before they will approve anything, they want a letter of no objection from whatever county you're located in. In our case, it's Charlotte County. So we are now we have, resubmitted information. Charlotte County has asked us three questions that really a survey company and an engineer have to answer. We have begun that process. We have most of the survey information back that we're waiting to complete that and submit that to Charlotte County with the expectation and the hope that they will grant us a letter of no objection, which then will be sent to Florida DEP, and then we'll need to wait for their approval. We're going to do everything we can to try to have the location as close to the old location as possible. It may not be exactly because, frankly, the old location may not have all been on Gulf to Bay property. And, we'll just have to deal with that. But we're going to do the best we can to try to get the tiki as close to where it was as possible. Now, in the meantime, until we have a tiki built, what our approach is that the company that we've talked to about building the tiki is going to put 4 poles on the beach for us. And we're going to try to put those 4 poles as close to the tiki location as possible. And the tiki, which would be a 20 by 30 tiki, would have 4 poles. But until the actual tiki permit is approved, we would have those poles placed in the sand. And and I'm kind of stealing a little bit of Anne Marie Miller's thunder, but she's going to be part of a beautification committee. But our idea is that until we have the tiki structure built, we would use those poles to attach, for lack of a better term, sunshades. If you've been to restaurants or other establishment, you've seen these, shades that are hung between poles or hung against the building to a pole. But put something up on the beach that would provide some cover, some shade to at least replicate what the tiki was until we can have that built. My timetable with the tiki company is no later than December 1st to actually put the poles in the ground. Now we're taking a bit of a risk where we place those poles. Again, we're going to try to put them as close as we can to where they ultimately would be, but if we're off, it could result in us moving those poles once again. But we thought it was important that we get something established on the beach and felt like this was at least a temporary solution to provide a shelter on the beach. Once we get the tiki built, we could take those sunshades, and if we wanted to, we could replicate something similar in the courtyard. But again, that's, getting a little bit ahead of myself. But that is an update on the tiki. Certainly, open to any questions, comments that anyone has. Do you want to? Hey, Jill, you want?
And you might want to mention why we can do the polls, but not. Why we can do the polls without the roof right now.
Well, take it.
Well,
Has anybody checked to see if the pavers are still packed underneath that sand? That you can remove all that sand and we'd have a pavered area to be able to sit chairs up on?
I have, yeah.
Pavers must still be there.
Fun. I don't think there's any pavers.
You think the pavers got
Yeah.
washed away?
Yeah.
It's sand didn't just hold them down.
Yeah.
Has anybody checked?
yeah.
Yes, you have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bob, they're gone.
Done. I'll get
Okay,
the feed.
bye.
There's some here and there.
Mhm.
That's it.
Or somewhere. Jill, yeah.
Jim, when they put the poles up, will they take the other one down? What's there?
I'm gonna ask them to. We've purposely left those poles up because I wanted to make sure we had evidence that we had a tiki there at one time. Now we have all sorts of photos and GPS things, but yeah, that would be the expectation that when they come there with their equipment to put the poles in, they take the old ones out. Yeah.
One question, we put anything up down there, does it have to be on our property now?
Well, we had, that's part of the information that Charlotte County is requesting, and we had a survey company come out and at least provide the information that Charlotte County wants. We are taking a bit of a risk here. Well, a couple risks. One is, we're not 100% sure where our south boundary is. Is our south boundary the Castaway line, or is our south boundary the Clarence Brown Trust Alley that shows up?
Does anyone have a good metal detector? I was with Don Pace one time and we found our property line out there. There is a
Mhm.
metal rod in the ground.
Okay.
We can't do it now because everything we measured off of that he had is no
I'll be
longer
gone.
consistent.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, what we're using right now, and again, this is part of the risk. We're using it would be our south boundary with Castaways. It would be their north boundary. We're using that as the property line. Now, again, the risk there is there's a strip of land between Castaway and Gulf to Bay that ownership is not certain. But we've decided we're willing to take that that chance to get the tiki up. The Charlotte County zoning requirements, which is what goes into this letter of no objections, is you have to be 50 feet from the mean high water line. You have to be 50 feet from the street, which is easy because they consider the street beach road, so that's not a problem. And then you have to be 10 feet from the property lines. That's the one where we need to make sure that we're on that and we're not encroaching on anybody else's property. But again, to be very transparent, we're taking a bit of a risk to consider that Castaway property line as ours. And we're frankly taking a bit of a risk to put the poles in the ground before we have the tiki approval. Our thought is that, if asked about it, those poles are temporary. All they're doing is holding a temporary sunshade, and we'll see where it goes. But we felt that was something we could do in the meantime in order to get some sort of structure on the beach. And kind of a side note to that, we are looking at some information about that strip of land. I call it Ora Street west of Beach Road to determine who actually owns that piece of land.
I thought that was just an access road for the beach.
Well, it's on the county records, it's listed as an alley on the Clarence Brown Trust, which is also what Ora Street east of Beach Road used to be indicated as. And Bob, what the park went through many years ago to establish ownership of that. And that's an option to go through the same process that Golf to Bay did years ago on East Aura to do the same thing on West Aura, which would involve a 7-year process of one day every year. You basically block off the ingress and egress and monitor that and do that for 7 years. And then, file legal documents to claim ownership of that. We have paid the taxes on that piece of land. I don't think Jill's for,
It's insignificant.
yeah, I mean, for probably 25 years. Yeah, it's de minimis. It's insignificant. It's $50 a year, but we have paid the property taxes on that. Castaways has used that as an easement since they were established, so they have really an implied easement to that property. So it gets complicated, and it's become more of an issue as we've dug into this, putting the tiki up.
What if we shared
You just you want yeah.
If I remember right, we shared the price of paving that road with Castaways.
That's my understanding, and we also shared, and this is a memory I'd like to forget, but we shared the expense of removing sand from that street last year, which they've been they have been very cooperative with us, very understanding, and they should be because they have a sign on Beach Road that says that's their entrance. So they have 10 condos there that if they don't have access to that road, they can't get to their front door. So I don't think there's any issue with Castaways. To me, it's just a matter of establishing who the owner of that is and getting that locked down. I'm not suggesting at all any changes in easements or anything like that, but just establishing who the rightful owner is.
We blocked it off at the end of the road one year. And I don't know what happened. I think they made us take it back down again.
Is that why is that why the park did not pursue that side at the same time they did the east side?
Yeah,
You know why?
we just blocked it off because of people coming around and coming in the other roads. We felt as though that they want to park where they're parking and they have to back out.
Sure.
So then for some reason, I don't know what the actual reason was, but they made us take it back down again.
Yeah. Do you know why
No,
the
I
park
don't.
did not pursue the?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, and that probably would, when that action was taken on East Aura, it had probably been done on West Aura. I'm sure there was a reason for it.
Might have just been courtesy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a big part of that was the attorney fees. The attorney fees were exorbitant here on this side, so I think that the park looked at that and said that the fees were just phenomenal.
Mhm.
So I think that was a big part of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we haven't incurred any. I asked Harlan for a quote to do a title search. Because a title search on that property would indicate the history of ownership. It would indicate if any easements have been granted. It would indicate if there's any liens. Basically, it would be a history of that property, which I think would be valuable to know that. So we've asked him to provide us with a price to do a title search on that property.
If I'm correct, I think we paved it. So I mean, that's one more thing in our favor, right? That we're the ones who paid to put the pavement down on there when we paved our other roads.
My understanding was it was a shared expense with
Okay.
That's my understanding. I know Bob is shaking his head. That's what the Castaway HOA president told me, was that we shared the expense. And again, we shared the expense of sand removal. She has indicated once they replace their 2 buildings that were destroyed that are on the beach, they're gonna have to bring in flatbed trucks with those modular units on and cranes to lift those up. Once they do that, they intend to repave all of their streets, including Aura, because they've been obviously heavily damaged over the last couple of years with the hurricanes and with the equipment. So, if that happens, my expectation is we would split the cost with them of repaving not all their streets, but repaving that Aura section. Okay. Well, we turn over to Bob for a dock update.
Okay. We still have some docks. We have 4 35-foot docks that can be used, 2 8-foot docks and 7 12-foot docks that are all usable by the people who have paid their dock fees. We've had a few people relinquish their docks this year. So there will be, in the future, some docks will be available. The question becomes, how are we going to get there? I have 2 updated proposals on replacing the docks. The first proposal is from Creative Marine Construction for $149,220. The second proposal is from Above Board Marine. One dock is $27,000. That's a fishing pier. The docks themselves are $89,000, and the second fishing pier is $26,000. We're looking at about $150,000 to replace all the docks and the fishing piers in exactly the same configuration as they were. In order for us to change the configuration, we'd have to apply for a new permit, which would include another engineer. It would include design and etc. While talking to the people from Creative Marine and Above Board Marine, they both were like, yeah, you can get it. It's going to take anywhere from 6 months to a year to get your permit altered. If you want to put them back as they are, pretty much in a month, they could start. Well, you could get a permit in a month to put them back because it's a repair from a hurricane. Actually getting them accomplished will be anywhere between 3 to 6 months of start time. We do have a couple of alternatives. We could replace fishing pier one at a time for $27,000, and then just stay where we are with the 7 or the docks that we have currently available, and then work on figuring out how to pay for the rest of it later on down the road. We're definitely going to need to pay for it, and we have a decision as to how we want to do it. So that's a financial decision that the board is going to have to discuss, determine what our resources are and how we're going to fund the replacement of those docks. Last year, with the sharing of the docks, we had no problem. The maximum number of boats ever in the water at any time last year was 7 boats. So there was no issues with that. The board has again extended their waiver of the boat trailers and boats in the yard for those people who have a boat trailer and can get it out of the water, so that other people can use the dock while their boats not in. It's been very good sharing. I don't think anybody has any problem with it, as I said. So my personal recommendation at this particular point would be to rebuild the center fishing pier, which is 18 by 20. That would be $21,810 plus $1,500 to mobilize the equipment. Have them put back the other dock that's floating in the water that we haven't been able to get out yet. And that would give us another 2 docks that we could use. And then as we address further down the road how much money we're actually going to end up with, because as you know, there's a list of projects that need to be done. We're going to determine what projects get done and what priority. My proposal in the beginning from this point would be to build the middle dock. It's an 18 by 20 dock, which is the old fishing pier. And that would give the residents a place to fish. It would also give us another dock on the side of it if we needed it. And it wouldn't really bother us too much. I think we could probably afford that. 150, we got to figure out how to fund it from there. So any questions?
Bob, what kind of construction are these?
It's 8-inch marine grade pilings framing with 2x8 actual 2x8s with 5/8 stainless steel bolts, 2 per header, 24-inch framing, 1x6 reinforced wear deck, synthetic deck, and fastened with stainless steel composite deck screws. So they replace all the piers, all the pilings,
Are they
and
gonna be
everything.
high, are the pilings gonna be higher or they can be like?
The pilings on the fishing dock would not be any higher than they are now. They would be underneath the dock.
Right,
We can't actually make the pilings higher than the docks that we currently have because it changes our footprint, which is what the lease is for. So we'd have to amend our lease arrangement to change that. The fishing dock will be fine with the longer piers. The reason they floated away, well, we had lots of reasons. Too much water.
yeah,
But they weren't really built very well. And the rest of the gentleman we talked to, like Joe said, there'd be no problem holding stuff down. It's not going to be like that. So I think it would be a safe investment to do that. It's just up to the board as to how we want to move forward.
and the other question I had is on the single docks, the 89,000. The other question I have is on the single docks, on the 89,000. How many docks is that, by the way? About 20? Oh, that's.
No, 12.
12, okay, so is that assuming they're all done at once? Or can you do them singly or? They gotta gear out. Yeah.
Every time they come, it's $1,500. If you do it in piecemeal, which they will do, they don't care. There's $1,500 additional charge.
Yeah.
Question, Joe?
On the stock that you're putting, will there be electricity and fresh water for the cleaning of the fish?
That's gonna be addition.
That would be an additional charge, but yes.
Yeah, do we want to have discussion and as to what the next step? Okay. Do you want to make a recommendation, Bob, on?
Motion.
Well, sure. And my recommendation would be that we work with Creative Marine to replace the community dock at 18 by 20 feet. The amount is $21,810 plus $1,500 for mobilization.
And
Then we would need to consider water and electric costs also in that, which we can work out as time goes on.
I second.
well, we need to
Okay.
need to make any others.
I would just ask, should we repair that one dock that's in the water with this too? So should we amend the motion to include that repair?
Well, we don't have a motion yet. We're just.
Okay.
Friendly amendment, accepted. It wasn't a motion.
Well,
Okay.
Discussion.
So have you made a motion or,
Somebody got motion.
so I make a motion that,
let's-
I'm sorry,
let's-
for discussion. Okay.
yeah, I mean, Bob is recommending I guess it's been called the Liars dock to be replaced and one other dock. Is that correct?
The one that's in the. Yeah, the one that's.
Okay, the one that's in the water, have that flip back up and usable. Any,
Which one is the liar's dock? I think.
the one that's in the mid,
Both
One in the
liars.
oh, well, yeah, it's in the middle, I guess it, yeah. They're all liars out there. Everybody's a liar at midnight, right? So, but it's a dock in the middle. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Any
fishing pier.
comments, discussion, recommendations?
Anybody online?
Yeah.
Mine as well.
I don't have anything online.
Okay.
Don't make a motion.
Did-
Make a motion. No, you gave a recommendation.
Okay. I make a motion that we contract with Creative Marine to replace the community dock, which is in the center, 18 by 20, the amount of $21,810. $1,500 for mobilization charges. And then we will need to have electricity, set the other dock that's out there back on the ground, and water. Not quite sure how much those last ones will probably 700 bucks. Yeah, should be that much.
We can get to that.
Say not to exceed, what, $25,000?
Yeah, not to exceed $25,000.
That's your motion.
That's my motion.
I want a second.
Well, second.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yeah,
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. So we'll spend, summing up, we'll spend not up to $25,000, replace the middle fishing dock, and right the front dock that's kind of on the far south side of the pier, and establish water and electricity for the fishing docks. Is that right? Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Pete, thank you.
All right.
Okay, yeah, next actually two are Jerry website, QuickBooks update, email US mail notification, and also treasurer's report.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
That's on new business, so is that treasury report?
Yeah, you can wait, yeah. Maybe just cover those two. Then. Yeah.
Okay, website. Freeman has developed his own website for our use over the past several years, or forever, I guess. And he has approached us and saying he's ready to relinquish that with his support. And so we just didn't want to let that go away because there's a lot of history and a lot of information in that. However, he's a brilliant man. He's using old code and everything, and we really don't have the technical ability to keep that website as he has been doing it. We don't have that expertise in the park. Excuse me. So what we are planning to do, as long as we get approval for it, is to work with Freeman and another consultant who is local, who has experience with it, and to move that to a more click and drag type format. I think it's called GoDaddy, where you just kind of click and drag and make it a lot easier to manage and so on. So all we need to move forward on that is the approval in the budget that we'll talk about later on. We built in the cost of that consultant, which is like $50 an hour, and we expect it to be no more than a couple $1,000 to get that going. So that's what's going on there. We will certainly keep the history that and the style of the website may change and so on. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to look, but we'll be working on that with volunteers in the office and in the park. Regarding QuickBooks, we've been operating on an Excel spreadsheet for years here. It's cumbersome, it's prone to errors, and we're not getting any younger. So we want to get a more easy platform for people to manage the business and so on. And it's real simple. QuickBooks costs less than $1,000 a year. So we're looking at implementing that. And we're hoping to do all of this by January 1st, as long as we get approval today on that. So is there any questions on that?
Just a real quick, does the QuickBook have any application to allow payment of fees directly?
It's not really a QuickBook application. It certainly makes it easier. That's more of a banking situation. I understand somebody, it wasn't me.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I checked or had asked Jill to check to see if we could use Zelle, if anybody's familiar with Zelle. The answer with our current bank, I think it's Cruise Bank and Trust, was that no, if not from a business application, but some of you, I mean, I use Zelle to send money to individuals, but
There's other.
yeah, we're trying to look at some way that I'll say modernizes the way that we pay fees, which probably most of you pay a lot of different fees and bills without writing a check to somebody. So we're trying to look at those.
I think we can work with Cruise Bank on that, to find some kind of, format where we can do that. If not, we can change, banks.
Just get cards.
And move forward with that. The other thing that the QuickBooks thing will allow us to do is to scan documents, so. We won't have to have such a cumbersome filing system and so on. So we'll be scanning documents and keeping them instead of hard copies and so on. So
With QuickBooks, are we gonna be able to do automatic invoicing to people where literally it's we set up the job, executed?
you mean for the
assessment?
HOAs?
Yes,
Yes.
And it would email out,
Well,
okay.
let's put it this way, it'll be easier. The only thing we'd have to do is on, the water. For the most part, it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah.
But, the water changes on a quarterly basis, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. So there will be a little bit of effort on that part.
Okay.
The one thing that would be easier if somebody, it'll keep track of who owes what a lot easier, because right now we have to keep it, or Jill has to keep it separate. This would be, everybody would have an account. If they want to prepay, they could prepay, and we'll just know what their balance is moving forward. So it'll give us a lot more flexibility.
I got a question. Can we set that up for a credit card and or ACH payment?
ACH, yeah, we can do it for either one, but the credit card's gonna cost.
Extra 3.5%.
Yeah, that's an extra 3.5, yeah, or whatever. So, but definitely ACH.
For
Yeah.
automatic payments, automatic withdrawals.
Yeah, that's more done on the other side of it, who's paying it, though.
But
So,
you can see it.
right. Any other questions? So with that, I'd like to make a motion to move forward with both of those projects.
A second.
Joe seconds. Those in favor?
yes.
Aye. Motion passes. Email. Just to be a summary of what you're reading out there, email US mail notification. Example, instead of hard copy that, we can email it.
Oh, yeah,
We talked about
that one got,
past.
yeah, that got me by surprise. The
Oh.
email versus the US mail notification. Years ago, I contacted Harlan I contacted Harlan to ask him if we could unload the cumbersome point of part of sending out all these mail, everything by mail. It's costly, it's cumbersome and so on. He said that that requires a change in the bylaws so that people will accept email as notification. So we're gonna have to get Harlan involved with that. And I'm not so sure what that all involves, but if that's something we want to move forward with, which I would encourage, because we need to get into the, into the modern age here, and so on. Now, I know that, I have a home in Rotunda. They just moved towards email voting. And that has gotten to be a very cumbersome thing. I could see the legal fees on that being pretty heavy, but as far as just notifications on things like the budget and notification of meetings and things of that nature, I think it'd be a lot simpler if we can move forward. So if I have approval, I'll go ahead and talk to Harlan about getting some legs on that and see if we can get it done.
Anybody, any questions on that?
I'm not recommending we
Yeah.
change the voting. I
Right.
think that would be too. I think
It's, I mean, this is a good example. There's a budget information that Jill passed out, but for those not here, she's gonna have to mail this. So, I don't know what this will cost, but let's say it's $1 to everybody to mail it. So this is just a way to recognize sending you an email is the same as sending you snail mail.
I got a question. Is there, you have a question, too? I'll have a question too.
These are required votes. They must go by mail. So you're gonna eliminate the paper, you're not gonna eliminate the mail.
Well, I was just, that's,
Yeah, aside, my question is aside from votes, actual votes, could we, mail people a, there you go. Can we mail people can we snail mail people respond to this, to just accept, list their email in lieu of, paper notifications? I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult.
Well, I think
that's what.
I think that's what we're talking about
Yeah.
doing.
Okay.
We're talking about doing that, but we need to get approval from people. Some people may not accept the email
Right.
for whatever reason, so. So it'll be an individual thing, everybody will be requested, right, and if somebody does not want to do that, then we still have the burden of mailing it, so.
Yeah, I would say go ahead. I mean, it's basically just to see if you're interested in doing that. Hopefully, most of you will, but it certainly would be your choice. Okay, no, that's fine. The unit upkeep, I'm gonna actually delay that until we get down to the project list, but I'll talk about that when we get to the project list. So that should conclude old business. Let's turn to new business, which is an update on the library.
Hello. So, everybody knows that the library shifted during our storm, so that made it very insecure and unstable to be in and using it. So we got a couple of bids to, secure, we did a foam, so here last month, we hired a, environmental foam solutions to come in and stabilize it and raise it. And now that the doors will actually work and you can open and shut the doors now. So they filled the large voids underneath the concrete. And like I said, now you can use the doors. The cost was $4,480 to level it and get it secured. Now the next piece, well, actually before we even did that, we actually had to empty the library. So we really appreciate everybody who volunteered to come in and get all that stuff out of there. And then we had to turn around and put it all back in. So thank you everyone for volunteering and helping us do that. So with it shifting, it affected the gutter on the west side. So we got a couple of bids. We hired Anthony Leonard Roofing to complete the work. They're scheduled next week. I think it's on the 18th. And the cost on that is going to be about $450. And then we have a couple of volunteers that have volunteered to put the sheetrock back in the library side. So we will be able to move the library back into the library and make it a library again.
So you want to just give a quick description of what Anthony Leonard's going to do?
So right where I think it's 313, the building right beside it, we actually had to cut the gutter out on that corner because when he raised the building, we didn't want to make it any worse and affect that other building. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit a higher rise on that edge. So it will divert the water into the gutter, and then we're going to make a larger gutter, the exit of the gutter, we're going to make it a little bit bigger so the water will actually go out the other end. That's it.
Stay away from the building.
Question? All right.
Yeah, Joe, you want to give an update on the HVAC system for the clubhouse?
Yeah. System number 2, which is right up above us. We tried, it had been leaking for a while, and the costs were getting pretty out of hand for coming by and charging upkeep, whatnot. And so we did what did we get, Susan? Was it 6? We had 6 bids. for system replacement. And we wound up going with a local company, Doolittle, and that is. You signed that, right, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the contract has now been signed and that will be going through. And it was also, we got a 10-year parts warranty with it, which is good for commercial. And we got a 2-year labor warranty, and they also expressed interest in the maintenance policy, which is twice a year on all the units. And they threw in 1 year, the first year for all 4 units maintenance within their price.
That was
And-
8,500.
And it was $8,500 total for a whole new system.
Good job.
And that's with 1 year maintenance on all 4 units. So I think we'll see how they do, but sounds good.
Good, thank you. The project list, we were hoping to put all that on the screen, but that did not work out, I think.
No.
So what we'll do, we had previously sent a list to everyone with projects that we feel need to be accomplished either immediately or long-term. Ask all the owners to provide some input from that. And that we wanted to really start to talk about that today and finalize, what we're going to do. So if you want to.
Maya, try sending that wirelessly to the TV.
How do I do that?
That's always it. Screen mirror.
Yeah, but I don't see the screen mirror on my,
Yeah, no,
Laptop.
All right.
sorry,
Yeah.
I am technologically illiterate on this issue with my laptop, I guess. So I'll just quickly go through a couple different things we had on here. We had the issue of needing to secure propane tanks earlier this year. That's been done. Exterior lights, we received notification that they need to be turtle compliant.
Clubhouse.
The clubhouse did, which for this season just chose we would turn the lights off completely, but that is something we will have to address as to whether or not we're going to replace the lights going forward. From the hurricane, we have rebuilding the docks, tiki placement, building the tiki. Once we have something up in that location of the tiki, we will need to determine what we want for furniture up there, what we want for, I'll call it flooring, whether we're looking at decking or pavers. So that is something we will still have to address. The fence along Estada has been put on hold for now. We have returned the check to Turtle Bay, where they were sharing in the cost. Let's see. We do still, I believe, have some exterior repairs on the clubhouse that will need to be done. I'm not sure exactly. Some fascia and stuff. Okay. We just talked about AC unit number 2, kitchen appliances and cabinets. We will still have to address that replacement and what we want to do there exactly. We do have a stove fire suppression system in the kitchen. Removing it can be costly. Not really needed right now though, but so it's just kind of being left dormant for the time being until we decide to do something else. We did replace or obtain a new contractor for mowing the ground, so that's being done and was started 2 months ago.
Yeah, on this one, I'm going to jump in. I want to thank Rennie for probably sweating profusely. June, July, August. He took on the challenge of building and grounds maintenance during the worst and hottest time of the year, and did that admirably. With duct tape and baling wire equipment in some cases. But again, I really wanted to thank him for all the efforts for that. And as a board, we did compensate him for his efforts. So even though he kept saying he just wanted to do it, we felt it was appropriate that he gets some compensation. So we did that. And And I want to thank, she's looking at me, I don't, but I wanted to thank Jill. We needed then to find out, find another service to do it. And I think Jill went out and got, gosh, 4 or 5 estimates from lawn services, which is not always easy because they come here and look at it, and it's not like you just get to use a riding lawnmower and spend 2 hours going up and down. This is piecemeal and chopped up and in between places, but did find a company called Land and Lawn, or Lawn and Land. I may have it mixed up, but I think a fairly new company that was interested in the business. And I think so far they have done a very good job. They show up usually either on a Wednesday or Thursday and seem to be very efficient. So I wanted to thank Rennie for his efforts this summer to kind of keep us going, and thank Jill for getting some bids to find a service that does it on a long-term basis. So.
The next couple we've talked about, which was the library, the website, the QuickBooks. We still have to determine how we're going to preserve some wet records that we have that we do need to preserve. Anne Marie was able to get us some no parking signs approved. Those have been placed along North Beach Road. So that, along with the grass that has been put in there, I think has made a nice difference in terms of people parking in that area. So thanks to Anne Marie and anybody else that worked on that project. The insurance recovery was mentioned last spring. Ed Cecil was able to obtain a few extra dollars there. That claim was closed. We received a total of $24,405. What's that?
For the cheek. Yeah.
For the cheeky, yes. The Sale Exploration Committee presented their findings in September, so that committee is finished. We do have to address this season additional, or I'll say replacing landscaping in some of the areas around the park. So that is an open project that we have.
I'm just gonna say.
Along those lines, I asked Jill a question several weeks ago. I said, how many trees have we lost in Gulf to Bay? Because we have a service called Bushwhacker, which comes out and trims our trees, and he charges X number of dollars per tree. Well, in 2022, we had 257 trees that they trimmed. So 2022, that would be Ian year. 2023, we had 212 trees. So you can see a drop. 2024, 206 trees. 2025, 191 trees. So, I mean, just quick math, that's 60 plus trees that we have lost in Gulf to Bay. So I think we need to start talking about and planning on certainly, I think we need to replace those. I think it would be nice to be in a position where we take a tree down, we plant a tree, or even better, we take a tree down, we plant 2 or 3 trees, because we've got to make up that difference. I've seen some pictures of Gulf to Bay years ago, and it was a much greener space than it is today. So that's just something that, we as a board will talk about. Certainly want to involve the landscape committee in that, but I just wanted to give you those numbers to let you know that, in the last 3 years, we've lost 25% of our trees roughly.
We used to have around 300 trees.
300, okay.
And a lot of the trees were taken down, don't forget, because they were interrupting with the person's house.
Mm-hmm. On power line. Yeah, I mean, there's power line issues but encroachment on, but still, I think we've lost some of the canopy and the greenness that used to be here. So.
Jim brought up street repairs, specifically that, I'll say, Aura Alley. Do we have others we're looking at, or?
Well, yeah, that's more of a question mark. With hurricanes, with all the equipment we've had in and out of here, I gotta believe that we've got some infrastructure damage, i.e. streets or electrical or sewer, or those sorts of things that you really can't see. but it feels like there's items there that are gonna pop up that we need to at least start to think about.
And we should rely on the unit owners when they see something to fill out a form, send it in so we know about it.
Then the other thing I know people and several individuals on the board have mentioned is needing to do a updated complete boundary survey. I don't think we're in total agreement on that yet, so there's certainly more to be discussed with that. And we did have an owner that mentioned that maybe we should start considering purchasing some of the vacant lots, which is a much larger process and obviously money and a lot of money involved with that. So that's kind of not a high priority one, I would say at this moment, unless I've got it on there since it was brought up. Let's see, we have the trees, the wall cracks and the laundry, mail buildings. I think we're gonna have some maintenance coming up with those at some point, whether it be repainting, some wall cracks we have to deal with there. Courtyard furniture is a little sparse right now, so we have to look at that. We're also down kayak and bike racks.
We need to.
Two, we need two. Okay. So do we want to address that at the next meeting then?
Should be addressed now because.
Okay. Okay, do we know what the cost is? No, we don't know what the cost is. Okay, that'll be addressed at the next meeting then.
Do we know where the location is?
Yeah, where the garage was.
Where those other ones, are those?
There's one there now.
It's not.
No, it's not secured. They'll have to be all secured, but it's like
Okay.
stuff, so.
Okay.
I'll get a price and send it around.
Okay. Then at some point, especially after these hurricanes with all the sand, we probably need to do a thorough inspection of all our infrastructure. And the last one we had on here, and I think
Yeah, I wanted to bring up unit upkeep. Oh gosh, our last meeting in April, we talked about that and we as a board looked at I think Anne Marie headed it up with some others. I think Carol was involved during her time on the board, but basically went around the park, looked at every unit. And, we each have an obligation to maintain our units up to a certain standard. If there were some areas that needed to be addressed, those were outlined and letters were sent to the unit owners. And there was a lot of work done and a lot of improvement in those. But there still is some more. And I know there was hesitation then that, we were in the midst of this sale exploration committee. There was, I think, among some folks feeling do I want to spend the money to fix up my unit until I know what's going to happen to the park? And, we tried to address that in September when we gave the report that we did the sale exploration. The park isn't for sale. And to the extent that anybody was hesitant or reluctant to move forward on fixing up their unit, that shouldn't be a reason anymore. So just wanted to bring it up now that we'll need to do another walkthrough of the park and note any units that are missing skirting or have areas that need to be improved. We will note that. And our process is to send a letter to that unit owner, asking them what the status is and for them to address that. Now, certainly we realize that units may be in different stages of being rebuilt or repaired, and that's fine. That's not but there are units where there's no activity and we need to have that addressed as to what their plans are going forward. So that's what we mean by unit upkeep, is to make sure that we're vigilant on the units being maintained up to the standards that they need to be.
I just want to chime in real quick and support that it is in the prospectus and it is in our park rules, and we're not doing anything there. The board's not doing anything different than it's ever been done before. So no one's being singled out. So I just want everybody to be aware that, it's part of what we're expected to do.
let me just back up once on the vacant lots. I don't know, sometimes people will ask, what keeps you up at night? Well, vacant lots keep me, I don't know I'm not smart enough to know what to do with the we have, I think, 14 vacant lots in Gulf Bay. And I'm not, I don't know exactly, what the answer is on those lots. Anne Marie's gonna, talking a little bit about some ideas she has, which are certainly, positive and in terms of the appearance of the park, but going forward, what happens to those lots? So that needs to be an item we talk about and we seek ideas. Again, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't have any brilliant ideas on how that problem can be solved right away. But I think it is something that we need to start thinking about and looking at, ideas on what can be done. So certainly if anyone has ideas, suggestions regarding vacant lots going forward, I think as a board, we're certainly welcome to those ideas, or if any board members have any ideas.
I have a question. Honestly.
Yeah, like Christine.
You have the owners maybe clean it good enough so that you could just grass it.
Again, I don't want to, I don't want to steal Anne Marie's thunder, but that's something she has some ideas, Christine, along those lines. Okay.
Ain't done yet.
So I just want to let everyone know that the bobcat in the park approached me one night.
You fed
So
him?
people are aware he walks around like 7:45 at night and he approached my house.
Okay, so the Bobcat's still here. Yeah. I have a video, I don't know if it's the same one, but of a Bobcat. We walk down a stump pass every morning, and one morning that Bobcat basically followed us from Stump Pass on the other side of the road, walking north. So I have a feeling when Stump Pass was damaged by the hurricane, that habitat was destroyed, and they're looking for someplace else to hang out. I think is what's going on. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the feral cats
Yeah.
approached the bobcat, stood him off like that.
A guard cat, right?
He's protecting her.
Yeah.
On the vacant lots, I'm more like on the park should spend money. A lot of money, because we need to quickly. But if there's 14 vacant lots, in order to absorb those vacant lots, we've got to compensate 14 different owners. And then while that's bleeding, you can count in about $2,000 per year per owner that will be distributed amongst everybody in this room as well, if we are to absorb 14 lots. And that's just my thought on it.
That comment about absorbing lots is not something the board can decide to do on their own. As an FYI, it does require owner approval because of the impact it has on people. So I don't want anybody starting to think that, oh my gosh, we're going to be asked to pay a lot of money for this. It's not something in our bylaws or, well, I was gonna say, I guess it would be the bylaws and the lease. That has a specific process we would have to go through.
I think that it would, I just think that phrase. I'll say.
Has the board reached out to the owners of the vacant lots to see what their intentions might be?
Yeah, you know what, we'll answer your question, but I'm gonna skip ahead on the agenda to Anne Marie Miller. And you'll see beautification committee vacant lots and because I keep stepping on her comments, so.
Good morning. So like Jim, I lay awake at night and think about things. And so, walking through the park and living here, I see things every day. And first of all, I know you all agree with me, the park looks awesome. It's just getting better and better all the time. So my thoughts went in this direction. As I looked at these vacant lots, I thought, if I can get a group of people, and it's not going to take long, our beautification committee to, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking behind people, to get together, and if we can get a few gallons of paint, so on and so forth, and we can roll out all of those empty lots, say with some gray paint, and then have a few plants set around each lot. We already have the landscaping in there and it looks nice. We can beautify that area. Now, the other thing is it'll take some work. I mean, I talked to Dan the other day. He said maybe 3 hours to roll out a unit. First of all, we have to contact the owners and make sure that the owners are willing to agree to that, to beautify it. I can't understand why they wouldn't, because it would also make their property more marketable if they chose to sell it. That's another thought. The other thing was that we have a lot of pavers on these empty lots. If after I contact the owners, if they're willing to donate the pavers that they have, we then can take those pavers and hopefully move them up to where the tiki area is. I've already had 3 men come to me and say, I would be more than willing to put those pavers down, which I thought would be great. Then we can also get a few people together on the beautification committee to pick out the sun sails and be able to put the sun sails up there. We need to do this. We can't just keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. We need to get it done. We need to get the pavers in. We need to get the sun sails up. We need to get the units painted. And there's enough people, and if everybody joins in and spends an hour or 2 hours of their time, we can get all this done. This is not a lot of work, but it will absolutely beautify the park. Any other ideas that you come up with are great. I think the planting is good, and moving forward in that direction. Any questions?
Are you expecting the owners pay for paint and all that?
No, that's the next thing.
I got a question for you.
Yes, Joe.
It was brought to our attention in
Spring, I think it was in May, about owners of vacant lots not wanting people to park on their vacant lots. So, you know, we gotta remember that it's still their lots. And then if we do, and we should, I don't really care how it's done. I'm not a beautification
Not about
person,
parking at all.
obviously.
This is not about the park, and just you.
Right. But I think that we should ask, or you should ask, you're heading and ask the people if there's something, whatever, it doesn't have to be, that just stops people without putting a don't park here, no parking sign. Something that common sense says don't park there.
Right, right. And I think everybody is courteous enough, has enough courtesy to ask if they can park somewhere anyway. So, I mean, I wouldn't just pull my car in anywhere. But this is just about the beautification. If we can get those pavers, and I know there's a lot of pavers here in the park that are just stranded or here or there, or, we could just, and I've got the men that are willing to do it. We can just get those put up at the pavilion, put into the sand. We now have a place, and then we can put the poles in, or put the poles in first. I don't know which goes which. Put the poles in and get those sun sails up. And talking to Jerry Murray, the sun sails are not that expensive. He has one, Susan, I believe you have one out over your place there. Not very expensive, and just something while we're waiting on the tiki. What I'm asking the board is, would you supply the paint, the rollers, and the paintbrushes for us to do that? I don't have a cost on it yet, because it will have to be gallons. I'll have to walk around and figure out what we're doing. So it'll probably be.
What about recycling?
Recycling center.
We're painting
You're gonna have to,
the,
you really need concrete paint.
the platform, just the concrete.
Habitat and
Yeah,
stuff. you would-
yeah, because if you go around and you look at the concrete right now, it's just a mess. It's got
You're
stains
probably
on
about
it.
50, 40,
not
50 bucks a gallon.
So if we paint them all the same color and then put plants around it, might make it a little more attractive. Okay,
Ambria, oh,
go ahead,
I think so. There's a question.
Carol.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'd help a lot too with the trees. We were talking about replacing the trees. You know, get them situated wherever they're gonna be. So that can help, you know, on some of these vacant lots, potentially make them look better. You gotta be careful where you put them so you can still build a house if they sell, but.
I made sure that we have plenty of green space. I wanna, keep the green space. So that's just an idea coming up. I don't wanna hold up the meeting here with this, but if you're willing to be part of this, and I haven't given the money proposal yet to the board, so I'm hoping the board's gonna be on board with this. But I would really like to get going on this while the weather's nice and get a bunch of people and get it done. So it's one more thing, part that will take it.
So you have a sign up sheet there for folks that,
Right here, I'm gonna put it up.
oh, okay, I'll make a motion that the board allocate $1,000 to the beautification to revise my. We allocate $2,000 to the beautification committee for the purpose of painting the concrete and adding any plants. And I think that it's the board's responsibility. We will send a letter to those owners, letting them know what our idea is and making sure that they say, yes, they're willing to let their, lot be handled.
Let's get it in writing.
Get in writing.
Yeah.
You don't wanna have to go straight from Lena.
Okay.
Certified mail.
I didn't mean to overtalk you.
I got some.
But I don't want to be limited.
If we're interested in the ecology and all that stuff, the owner should take those slabs out and allow the rain and all the stormwater to wash in instead of flooding everywhere in the park. And if we're gonna do it for the vacant owners that show no interest in the park here, then do it for everybody in the park. It's one or the other.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm not sure I totally,
I need that.
No.
can you repeat what you said?
That was Joe.
I'm sorry, Joe, I'm sorry.
Okay, they need to take the concrete out so that the water has somewhere to drain instead of flooding out all of our streets in 411 and everywhere else.
They own that slab.
It's the owner's
Yeah.
responsibility. They should have had the concrete taken out when they removed the units. But now we're gonna go spend money and time to beautify their property that have no interest in the park other than once it sells. And if you do it for them and we're spending money, then be fair and do it to everybody.
Well, they're showing.
Okay, yeah, I don't
It's
honestly,
everybody's ads and anything that's
Yeah.
needs painting.
um,
Well, they do their driveways or anything. A lot of people have the old style 12 by 12, cement blocks that people paint.
yeah, I think what you're describing to me is a longer term solution and I think what Anne Marie's trying to do, I don't want to speak for her, but this is more, as the committee name implies, beautification. It's to take something that doesn't look very good right now and make it look better. Now, long term, I think what you're suggesting is going to require certainly some research and some legal opinions in terms of that. I don't necessarily disagree, but I think in the short term, all we're trying to do is to make the park look a little bit better with some paint and some plants, but longer term, that's again, I said, I don't, we need ideas on what to do with vacant lots. You've just outlined one, but I think in the meantime, it's let's make them look as good as we can. Just a second.
Sue?
Just a quick question. I thought the pads had to stay there for the footprint of the trailer that was taken out.
No,
It does not?
no. County knows everything is. I see that, Mike, Jim.
If they truly did the survey.
Bottom line on the slabs is the people that own the slab still own the slab. You know, so they own it. And unless they're gonna sell it, they own that concrete and they're paying 500 a quarter just like everybody else is.
Well,
So-
having said that, Joe, I think we're having a heck of a time getting people to do things on the units that are there to beautify them. I'm thinking that for the park to take on someone's property that they're paying the taxes and the park dues, it's that person's responsibility. What we need to do is come up with some kind of verbiage that says, you know, when your place is down, this is your responsibility to make it look good for the rest of us. And for us to go through and paint slabs and whatnots, does that include that could be like that for 20 more years. It's going to be chipping and looking like heck. Are we going to be responsible for redoing those slabs to keep it looking great?
I'm neither for nor against. I'm pretty neutral on beauty. All right. We'll just leave that right there. But those people do own that. And, you know, that's something that we could definitely get on the agenda to talk about and get an email or letters out, etc. down the road. I mean, it's a valid point for sure. And people with rock roofs.
First of all, I feel very, very sorry about the people who lost their places. But it's their responsibility, not ours. And because you also have several places in this park that have blacktop that's not painted anymore. That if you're gonna do theirs, and why don't you do those people, have them responsible for fixing their blacktop? I mean, they got several of them. The blacktop is just not destroyed, but nice paint job. And why shouldn't you back to them? I just spent $3,500 to fix some new pavers because they were look like hell. And I know my son-in-law is gonna put skirts on, but he wasn't gonna do them until I fixed the pavers. Because they got to go on top. So I don't see why we should spend money to do somebody else's property. It's their responsibility. They own it. If they don't like it, sell it.
This is why we never get any.
Wait. Wait.
This is the whole thing. I'm not asking you to do it. I'd be willing to do it myself. I'm just saying, this is why nothing ever gets done. I live here, I walk around, I look at these slabs, I look at this community. I want this community to look beautiful. You and I both know that the unit owners are not going to come down here and paint their slabs. It's not going to happen. Their hearts are broken. They've lost their homes. And pretty much most of them are like, yep, well, we'll wait and see if the park sells. That's the reality of it. And I'm not asking anybody to go out of their way. I would do it myself. It doesn't matter. It's I paint the slabs. I pay my own money to do it. I just feel like it beautifies the park and we don't have to look at that cracked, nasty looking slab. And I'm not going to wait till next year at this time and have this same conversation saying that, what are we going to do with that? But in the long term, Joe, you're absolutely right that they should be thinking about what they're going to do with it. But this is short term to just make the park look decent.
I think it's a wonderful idea to do it, but I understand when people feel like they don't want to pay money for something that should be done by the owners. And so we're kind of on a teeter-totter with it. But what we could do is that we could approach the owners and say, look, you either have to do something about this place, or we've got a group of people that are willing to beautify it, but we need you to reimburse the park for it. And just ask them, go ahead with it, but ask them, either they pay for the paint, or they come and do something about it. But it doesn't have to be it. Either we pay for it or it doesn't get done. Harry and I have put a lot of time into our place and it's not been easy. So I don't think asking people to pay for a bucket of paint and some plants so that we can go ahead and beautify their place would be something that we should not ask them to do. And that's just my opinion on it, but
Hi, I have several places that have concrete. And I have personally faced, do I paint it or do I not? There is a new thing called power washer art. And I have bought me a power washer back in Colorado, and I have a variety of things on my driveway. And it's maintenance free. And you could also, if you purchase the power washer and decided to do something other than paint, it's a good investment for the park. It could be used on many different other buildings. You do buy little special tips and perhaps a stencil or two, but you could put beautiful mermaids on these lots with the power washer, and you could put palm trees on that, and it will last for quite a while, and you could change it up.
So a couple years ago, I actually asked the board, because I would walk down CLO and I would look at Grant's lot. It was vacated from Ian because of the damage. So since 2022. And so I asked the board, because it looked messy to me. I hated walking by it. It was not attractive. And so I asked the board if we could put grass seed in there, just grass seed to make it look better, so it wasn't so all dry. Was told no. And so my brother actually bought the grass seed and he put it in there. And as you see it now, it looks a lot better. He didn't pay a lot, $60. He put a hose out there and a timer on the hose and had it watered. Looks a lot better. And so I think it comes down to the board really needs to make a decision on what's going to be done. Are you going to make the owners be responsible for doing something with their lots? Or are you going to be willing to, have the park absorb some fee? And it's a minimal fee. And, as everyone knows, I'm trying to sell my place, still want this place to look good. I mean, that's going to help me sell my place too. And, when I walk around, I still like it to look nice. And Anne Marie's exactly right. Nothing's going to happen unless somebody makes it happen. And, I don't know why anyone would want to continue living here and have it not look nice. I mean, as you drive around on your golf cart or walk around or go to the beach, it's nice to see. And that's one of the things that attracted me originally to here was walking around and seeing how people did their places so cute, different aspects that they had. Each person had their own flair. And so, I think to get hung up in $2,000 to make the place look better it's kind of insignificant. But also, if you look at if those people donate their pavers, that's helping pay for the pavers over at the tiki. So, pavers are expensive. So just throwing it out there.
Okay, well, as a board, we need to make some decisions here on what to do. Obviously, there's some different opinions here. If we look at sort of a hybrid, it could be a letter to the owners saying, look, your lot needs to be maintained. We have volunteers that are willing to do it, but whatever their cost is, that will be billed to you. Unless you choose to do it on your own, which, give them a certain amount of time to do that, which is essentially how you handle repairs anyway. If you notice a repair needs to be done, you send them a letter saying this needs to be done. If you don't do it within so many days, we'll have it done and we'll bill you. we could take that approach, that we have vacant lots, they need to be painted, they need to be dressed up a little bit. You've got so much time to handle on your own, which we hope you do. If you choose not to, then we have a volunteer group that will do this, but whatever cost they have will be billed to you. That's one approach. Guess another approach is we, Golf to Bay, allocate the money and have it done. But I'm feeling there's some pushback that we're on a bit of a slippery slope there where all of us are paying for something that the individual owners should pay for. So that's just my feeling. But
Yeah, I can see both sides of it. Personally, my heart goes out to people who had a place here and lost it, and they continue to pay their quarterly fees just like we do, and they get absolutely nothing for it. So to go to them and ask for whatever, I think it's just going to put salt in the wound. And we're talking $2,000. I mean, maybe we ought to just take a collection. If there's pushback for $20 a unit or $15 a unit, whatever it is, maybe I'll just take up a collection and do it. But or maybe just go to the each unit owner and say, hey, look, we need to you need to clean up your unit. We'll be willing to do it, but we need X amount of money, $200 or whatever, to do it. We'll provide the labor. Maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. But if they don't, maybe we can just do donations or have the park do it. I agree that it'd be nice to make it beautiful. Why not?
Can I give you my $3,500 bill? If you pay that too?
Well,
That's a different issue, Bob.
I got another thing too is, that I'll just say, because I'm definitely part of this, is there's a whole lot of people, myself included, that were pissed off for a long time because of the sale thing and everything else. So this is day one for me. Now I've got to get my place going, and I'm sure that I'm not alone. That was a great big pause after the hurricanes. Now that committee is done, the park is not going to sell, the park is not for sale. Now everybody can go, hey, Joe, you're rough. I'm like, yeah. All right, so we got to give it a little bit of time because, unfortunately, now is the beginning again. Because I was going to do my room. If that committee went for 2 years, I wasn't touching it.
Yeah, we need to go on. Let's go.
I personally like Jim's proposal. Address it with the people and tell them they need to clean it up. Then if they don't, we'll take care of it. But they're going to be put on notice that they need to take care of it. They need to keep their lots clean. And at the same time, open the subject. If you want to sell it, let us know. But it's the same thing. If you're not desirable to live here anymore, then let us know what's going on. I know empty lots don't sell very well, but if they're going to want to get rid of them, at least starts the process. Oh, and then another moment afterwards.
Can we at least have a time frame?
30
I mean, I don't want 3 months from now, yeah, go ahead, you can start it.
okay, so you're okay with that proposals? I'm not doing this formally. Susan, are you okay with that? Joe? Jerry?
Yes, I think that's.
Okay. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We'll include the vacant lots as part of the unit upkeep walkthrough, which makes sense because it's part of the same process. So we'll do the walkthrough, we'll note those units that need to have something done. So we know right off the bat, there's 14 that need to have something done. And I think we have to handle that the way we've done it in the past, is send them a letter indicating that we've noted these improvements or deficiencies, and that you have, and I think to Anne Marie, your question, I think we've used 30 days as that you have 30 days from the established date to make these improvements. If you don't, then the park will initiate the improvements and you will be billed the cost of that. That's how we, to my knowledge, have handled anything in the past. So we really would just be including vacant lots as if you don't have skirting on your unit, the same thing.
Just a quick question in that letter, can we ask them if they have pavers, if they're willing to donate the pavers to offset their cost?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, there's some lots that I would personally call the owners and talk to them about what their intentions are. Because based on some of the locations of these lots, I think there's some things we could do as Gulf to Bay to use those to help everybody. And then you get into a discussion. Well, you know what? I mean, we're the Shinsky's lot. You know, what if that lot, we put poles up there and put a sunshade over that lot? There's already water there, that we set up a couple of showers so that if you come off the beach, and we put some racks there to put chairs on, that we could utilize their lot for that purpose. Now, in exchange for them saying, yes, you can do that, what do they get in return? And that's something the board would have to discuss. Maybe we waive their HOA fees, or, we come up with something that says, okay, in consideration for you allowing us to do this, we will do this for you. Now, there's some lots that really, I'm not sure what we could do with, but certainly the Shinsky's lot may be one of them. Maybe there's a lot on the bay where you could do something like that. So, that's another approach to see, what are your intentions? And if you intend just to let it sit there, we have some ideas of some things we'd like to do, and here's what we would do for you in return. So, yeah, I certainly will do a letter, but I think there'll be some phone calls to some of those folks to get into more detail and get into a discussion about what they'd like to do. But we probably need to move on with this meeting because we're at 10 after 11. But so from the board standpoint, we're going to treat vacant lots just like we do any other improvement. So,
Uh, Some of those lots are unsaleable because you can't build on them, right?
No.
Is that true?
yeah, I mean, if you are a vacant lot between two other vacant lots, and you can't comply with the 10-foot setback, frankly, I don't know what you're going to do with that, but that's.
They're unsaleable.
Yeah.
So what do we do as a park about it?
Well, that's the part I mentioned earlier where you don't sleep. I don't know. I mean, that concerns me. But you know what? We spent a lot of time on this topic, so we have a resolution now on what we're going to do, and we will certainly talk about this going forward. But in the interest of getting through the meeting, I'm gonna move on.
So is the beautification group kind of on hold right now, or?
Anne Marie's group. Well, the portion about the vacant lot is on hold. The portion about getting the poles up and getting the sunshade, certainly that beautification committee should go, full steam on that one. But in terms of painting vacant lots, doing anything like that, let's get the letter out and see what the response is.
Yeah, as well as if our committee comes back with any other recommendations.
I mean, and you've got the laundry rooms and, that we were just talking about heated painting and stuff like that. So that's still part of the beautifications. That's right.
Just a suggestion, we're heading into Christmas, maybe extended to at least 45 days. You're really putting people up against Christmas, that's all.
Well, without doing 30 days is that's what we typically give anything 30 days. So I'm not trying to be crass or anything, but it doesn't really matter about the holidays. You got 30 days to address it. So, I mean, I appreciate your question, but I think we should stick to 30 days.
Can addressing it being getting back to the board and letting them know what their plans are?
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Okay.
They can certainly ask
Yeah.
for additional time.
Exactly, you can always.
Yeah.
extend it.
Okay,
Communication goes a long
let's
way.
move ahead. I think I'm bounced around.
Vacancy.
Board vacancy. We have a vacancy on the board, and I want to thank, and Anne Marie, please stand up. It wasn't a stand up. That was
That was a person.
That
That
was
was a courtesy or something. But no, I wanted to thank Anne Marie for her participation on the board recently and certainly well before I became part of Gulf to Bay. I know Anne Marie served on the board in various capacities. So, want to definitely thank her for her service. Anne Marie has decided to step away from the board. So we do have a vacancy on the board right now, and I believe Anne Marie's term runs until March of 2027. I believe that's right. So it's roughly a year and a half term. So what the request from the board is, if you are interested, and the board, if you read the bylaws, has the ability to appoint a board member if someone resigns. So what we're asking the owners to do, if you are interested in this board opening, please send us, and would be to the Gulf to Bay email address, please send us a note indicating your interest and answer two questions: why you're interested and what expertise you would bring to the board. So if you're interested in serving on the board, please send that to the Gulf to Bay email address within the next 2 weeks, on or before November 21st. And then it will be the board's, certainly the board will review those names, and we will make a selection for the, December, I don't know the date off the top of my head, but the December meeting, we will select December 8th board meeting, we will select someone. So again, if you're interested in serving on the board, please send an email with your name, your reason why, and your experience. Office manager compensation, Jill has requested that her contributions be reviewed. I think Jill's last increase was in 2021, was the last time that her compensation was looked at. And the thing we want to, Jill is not a GTB employee. She's not an employee of Gulf to Bay. She's the legal independent contractor, 1099 employee. So there's certain ways you have to, handle that situation. But Jill has requested that her compensation be reviewed. The board has looked at that, and we agree, and we will be adjusting her compensation effective January 1st of 2026, which is, that timing appears to be consistent with other increases, but it will be her first increase in 5 years. So. The budget.
Well, let me get, we'll wrap that up with that.
Dolphin property update, I'm getting it real quick. Across Beach Road, there's a property with the sign still says a dolphin. There are a couple buildings there. As you notice, they have put up a black chain link fence. The information that we have is that the folks that run or own Ken and Barb's restaurant also have had an interest, or I think even a partial ownership of this property. And their plans are to put some type of restaurant, tiki bar in that location. And I think Maya had forwarded some plans that had been submitted with Charlotte County, but we've heard these rumors for quite a while. It looks like they're finally starting to act on that. They did show up about a month ago, and they started to take palm trees down on Cielo Court. And I think Bob noticed it, Anne Marie noticed it, and we got there in time to talk to the folks that were taking the trees down, and they weren't on our property, they were just across the property line. Long story short, they took down 4 palm trees. They were going to haul them away, either sell them or do something else with them. We talked to them, and they gave us the palm trees, and they actually replanted those 4 palm trees on our property on Cielo Court. So, I mean, the good news from that is we got 4 extra palm trees, and their plans are on that property, I think, to take down as many as 21 trees on their property. So we will attempt again when that happens to see if any of those 21 trees may become available that we could, utilize in some way at Gulf to Bay. Not a guarantee, but it worked before, and we certainly, as they progress with their plan, see if we can somehow, gain some extra trees from that. But if anybody else has any.
So what I found online was a permit from 2023, I believe, that in August of this year, they actually updated the contact person on that commit that through the I'll say the GC basically. I don't think we have a contact for anybody with the Ken and Barb's. Should we be trying to get a contact so we can talk to somebody as that good neighbor? Let's get in front of things and, just make sure we start some open communication.
I met the kid
Sorry.
a few years ago. I was on my bike and I stopped by there and I met the kid who runs it. There's a mom and dad, and that's how they get the name. And I can stop by there and talk to them, see if I get information.
Yeah.
I don't think Kenneth Farr owned that.
No, not the
Somebody else owns the property and they own the property where Ken and.
Yes.
They leased that, yeah, but
Ken and Barbara just gonna do it. People that own it.
bottom line, something's gonna happen with that, which is, it has been vacant since,
Well, if they got enough parking, it's fine.
gosh, probably October of 2021, I think they shut down the rentals there. So it's been vacant for quite a while. We put a lot of sand over there. I know that. What?
That is not on the record.
Yeah, let's not put that in minutes, but there's a lot of off-base sand. All right. Jerry, you wanna?
Yeah, budget.
Budget.
Okay, before I go to the budget, I should give a treasurer's report. The money as of October 31st, in the operating account, we have $9,454. The money market has $124,460. That's a total of $123,915.
23 or 33.
23. 123.
Okay, I got
In addition to that, we have three $25,000 CDs that mature over the next 6 months or so. So when you add those $75,000 CDs in there, we have a total cash available as of October 31st of $198,915.02.
Does that include the insurance check?
Yes, yes. Okay, so let's, everybody should have a copy of the budget. If you don't online, you'll be getting it in mail or by email, I guess, from Jill. And that includes the proposed 2026 budget numbers. That's the far right column on that sheet. It was kind of, I'm going to back up a little bit. As far as the numbers for the statement itself, it's hard numbers as of September 30th, and the fourth quarter is all projected. So beyond, so you can look at the numbers. I don't know if anybody's interested, but if you do, it's real numbers through September. Budget this year was a little bit interesting because we typically use it based on the previous year, and the previous year was very unusual because there was some things that were changed because of the hurricane. We didn't have any laundry expense. Laundry income, for example. We had partial lawn care. We had partial cleaning crews and so on. So but oh, by the way, in that budget, there should be a separate page which gives you a list of all of the capital expenditures, if you will, through September. Most of the sand removal was actually in prior years. We had a total of, I don't know it offhand, but it was somewhere around $65,000 worth of sand removal. And I'm pretty proud of this park because we never had any special assessments to pay for that. So that just came out of our operating expenses. Of course, when you reduce your cleaning crew and you reduce your lawn care and so on, that gives you some extra bucks to help pay for it and so on. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be available for the December meeting, which is when the budget gets approved. Because I think I'm gonna be in transit, I'm gonna be flying. So I encourage anybody who has any questions on that to give me a phone call, or send me an email or a text or something like that, and I'll respond to anything. So is there any questions on the budget right now?
Can I ask a question?
So on the sheets that you just handed us, one of the questions is that statutory reserve for 2026. What's the board's recommendation on that?
Yeah, that's a separate subject from the budget, but I think there's actually two things to vote on. Going by memory, one is does the park want to require statutory reserves? We talked about this a lot. I can go into it. It's a little bit of a technical thing. I can tell you that in the past, our attorney Harlan has always suggested that people vote no on that, and typically it's been voted no. Isn't there another
Audit.
Yeah.
Oh, they audit. And the other thing is, do we want an year-end audit? Right now we spend about a little less than $3,000 to have the financial statement reviewed. I take that back. Compiled, it's a technical term, and the tax return prepared. If we wanted to have an audit, that cost would probably be in the neighborhood of about $15,000. Really, all they do is send out confirmations to make sure you got the bank account, what you say is in the bank and what the receivables are and so on. They do the test and all that. So we traditionally have voted no on that as well.
We trust you.
I would recommend no on both of those myself.
We trust you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, not to, I mean, Jerry and I have a disagreement on the statutory reserves. I think particularly, we talked about docks earlier. To me, if you're gonna have a statutory account, docks or boat ramp or that category to me falls right in the sweet spot of a statutory reserve account. And the misnomer that I think has been out there is if you set up a statutory reserve account, you can't use it for anything else. That's not the case. If you set up a statutory account for docks, for example, but we need money for sand removal, we have to go to the owners and get your approval to move that money. So it's not a situation where if you set one up, it's forever locked into that and you can never move it. That's just the point I wanted to make, is that as I read these documents that went out in the past, they always read to me like the money could never be moved. And that's, as far as I can tell, and I've read, that's not the case. I mean, you are locking it into whatever your account is, but if you have something else that comes up that you need the money for, the board would go to the owners and say, we have $100,000 in the dock, but we need 80,000 of that to fix the clubhouse. If the owner said yes, you can move that money. So
this is a counterpoint right here. And that's true. What Jim says is true. I'm not opposed to having reserves. In fact, I encourage it. I would propose having one large number with a one pot that the board is required not to touch for operating expenses, so that we don't have to go to everybody to the park for every individual thing if we have to move it. For example, we spent $65,000 on sand removal. We did that from our general fund. If we did not have that money in the general fund and it was allocated to these different reserves, we would have to go through the motions of having the entire vote and all that and so on. So, and I'm not opposed to either way. I can deal with it either way. I'm just going by 107 units, pretty much a budget of less than $200,000. It's pretty simple, but I would certainly encourage that we not dip below I don't know what the number is, but let's say $100,000, we should always have some money available. It'd be great if we had $1 million, but, at $115 a month, I don't think it's gonna take a while to generate that kind of money.
I'm with Jerry on that actually too. It's leave all the eggs in one basket. If we need eggs, we can take them out and we can let everybody vote. There's just too many moving parts right now until everything's reassembled. Allocating money is just a waste of time right now.
Okay.
No problem. Jim, can I ask? Not a question, it's more of a statement.
You asked about the kayak racks.
Hmm.
2 kayak racks, like we have delivered, $1,925.
Install. That's.
Jerry's gonna do it.
What,
You want?
what, Jerry?
1,500 total for 2? Or
1925. We told the people last spring that we would get them in, and they would be in before they got here. We're late, sorry. But my proposal would be for $1,925 to order 2 new kayak racks to be installed on the vacant garage space. Make motion.
I know that some kayaks got washed away and some were removed from the park. Did we do another count to ensure that that 3 is right? Oh, okay, thank you.
Did, thank you. They pay for kayak racks also.
So my husband brought up this thought to me. The question is, a lot of kayaks don't appear to get used very frequently. Would the park consider buying some kayaks that are park owned, where could be used by all owners? We'd also obviously have to have liability forms. I don't know what other liability goes with that, but would that be a better option than having a total of 3 kayak racks? Maybe having 2 to 4 kayaks that are park owned that are available for park owners.
Liability.
And that's what I said. I don't with it. So that's the question.
I like the idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's, what is it? Forward thing.
I don't, I got 2 sitting in my yard right now, so.
Well, you know what, let's just,
You want to donate it?
They don't.
right now, let's just focus on, you want approval to buy 1 more rack?
Well, I want 2, but
2?
if you only want to approve 1, then. It's half
So,
to 19.
well, I mean, is your proposal to buy 2? Okay. Is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Second? Okay.
We can always
Susan,
move on the other idea later.
yay or nay? Bob,
Yes.
Joe,
Okay.
yay, Jerry,
Yes.
yay, Maya.
Yay.
Passes with a high level of enthusiasm, so, kayak.
Well, we
All right.
gotta do something about the kayak.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna skip boundary survey. We can talk about that in the future. The final item is the recreation committee. If there's anyone,
I think
Jill,
the location.
We need to, I think, I say we, those of us who were on the recreation council, we don't really have one anymore. We don't have a kitchen for one thing so we need to see how we want to go forward. Nobody stepped up last spring to sign up to be bar plumber. Term is up. Patty's was up. Julie is going to resign. And Anne Marie is dealing with all of the things that she's dealing with. So we need to figure out what to do moving forward. I mean, but I still have the money. Barb and I can write checks. We did, Barb and Anne Marie were garage sailing and found a couple of really nice bar stools for $20 a piece that they bought. And we put them down there at the pavilion to around the bar because there was only one little lonely chair that was left. So I don't know if maybe we need to talk with the board members and what we think. We can always, everybody can always have an event anytime they want. Just, put it on the chalkboard, give me the information, I can put it on our website, so I'm not sure.
Well, I think on the kitchen, if you would just submit a recommendation on what, excuse me, what we need to do in the kitchen. I don't personally think we need to recreate
What was there?
what was there. I mean, that was a commercial kitchen. It was outstanding, but it feels like that we don't need to recreate that, but
Because aren't there a lot of, if you do try and do a commercial kitchen, you fall under other categories.
I'm sure there's,
Expected.
but if there's some appliances that you need to,
Costs more.
in order to have carry-ins and things like that, let the board know that and
See if
we'll
Barb
consider,
wanna work
yeah.
with me. So,
yeah.
so that's it. We still have $3,240.18. We took $40 out just last week for the 2 chairs, so. And the other thing is I am in charge of the directory now. We won't be printing any, so we're gonna send it out electronically. You can, in a PDF form, you can print it if you would like. So I would like everybody in the park to look at the old directory, make sure your information's up to date. If not, email me and I will make the changes and I'll get it to Jill and she can email it out to everybody.
And that's the best endorsement right there for going with email versus US mail.
It costs a lot of money to print them out and stuff, so, but this just is easier to do. Okay.
The kitchen was addressed to different degrees this summer, over the summer, with the hood system, tanks, etc. I think, take a comprehensive look at what you would want, what anybody in here would want in the kitchen. It's actually, with the Halon system that's there currently, it's good, it's functional, it's up to date, it's clean, it's a green light. It's inspected, it's ready to go. I mean, we could put cooktops back in there, we could put ovens back in there. It's usable. But I don't know what you guys want, and nobody really did. Well, that's what I mean. Just get something together for kind of what it's going to take, and then we have an idea. We can talk about it.
Last year.
Jill. Oh, I'm sorry.
She's getting her steps in.
Yeah. Vanna.
So last year we did find on Marketplace a 6-burner gas stove. It wasn't a commercial type. It's just one of the like bigger high-end ones that people put in their homes. But it had 2 ovens and it had the 6 burners, and we thought that would be something. And we never moved forward on it some way, shape, or form with the board. So if maybe, I don't know if Barb's willing, I'm not gonna speak for her. But if we could do that, and we did have some gal come out to try and give us a design for redoing, and she was not interested at all. So we didn't move forward with any of that. She was just like, oh yeah, so.
Well, if you find another oven.
Yeah.
Like that, and you want to move forward with it, just submit on the request.
Right. Okay.
Are the only gas stoves
So then-
here gonna be LP?
Liquid propane,
'Cause there's a
2-burner oven, 24-inch griddle, identical to what we had, maybe the brand, $2,729 delivered.
Exactly.
So that's, if that's what you want to do, that's well within the range, in my opinion, of budgeting. The only thing is the kitchen cabinets, we need to consider what we want to do with the space that's underneath the sinks.
Right.
But, not put the double ovens back, just put the single double oven,
Mhm.
little 6 burners, be about $3,000.
Yeah.
Back,
Yeah.
so.
Can you shoot that can you share that with me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think we should, the kayak racks too, I think we definitely need to discuss location. That was my hesitancy and probably a couple others on get them, but where do we put them?
But they're easily to move.
Yeah, exactly.
End up open down to bed.
Yeah. And another thing, I got a text from the AC guys. They said they just had an opening. So we can get that done this week if it works. We've got to make sure this place is clear.
Julie, it's all about the.
Yeah.
She's good.
Julie's
Really good. Yeah.
All right.
Got it for Friday.
For a 3-hour cruise, this was a 2-hour meeting, so. But, you know, probably to be expected. I mean, we haven't met since April. There's obviously a lot of items, agenda items, and thank you for your patience. Anybody else have any?
If
Oh,
I can give you one of these budget packages, please let me know.
We should have had everybody sign in on a notepad. Who was here?
Yeah.
Oh, no, forgot to sign in.
Kind of late.
yeah, yeah, we missed that one, so. All right, well, we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
All right.
Aye. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.